The rain had been falling steadily for hours, hammering against the metal roof of the off-grid cabin like 1,000 tiny hammers. Kieran hadn't expected visitors tonight, not with the storm cutting off most of the forest paths, but when a sharp knock echoed through his small cabin, he froze. He had come to this remote wilderness to escape the world, the noise, the bureaucracy, the endless demands of humanity. And yet somehow the universe had other plans. He approached the door cautiously, expecting perhaps a lost hiker or some overzealous wildlife researcher. But what met his eyes was nothing he had ever seen. She was tall, far taller than any human woman, and her skin shimmered faintly in the dim porch light, a delicate luminescence like moonlight on water. Her eyes were large, almost impossibly so, a deep violet that seemed to see straight into his soul, and yet despite her alien form, there was a vulnerability in her stance that made Kieran hesitate. I need your help, she said in heavily accented basic, the universal human tongue for interstellar communication. Her voice was soft but commanding, carrying the weight of desperation. I am alone. My children. They need a father, Kieran blinked. The words seemed absurd, almost comedic given the creature before him, but the sincerity in her gaze left him frozen. He opened his mouth, but no words came. Only the storm answered, its howl filling the air. I cannot stay long, she continued. They are in danger. If you do not help, they may perish. You are strong, human. You will protect them. Instinct warred with reason in Kieran's mind. He had trained in survival, in combat, in wilderness self-sufficiency, but this was an alien life form, something entirely outside the bounds of any training he'd ever undergone. And yet, there was a pull, a strange gravitational tug in his chest that defied logic. He stepped aside, motioning her in. The cabin was small, sparsely furnished, but warm. A fireplace glowed in the corner, casting flickering shadows across the wooden walls. She moved gracefully inside, her limbs bending in ways that made his eyes widen. Yet she carried herself with a dignity that was almost human. My children, she said again, lowering her head. They are not yet ready to face the world alone. The war, the hunters, they follow me. They will not stop until I am gone. You must keep them safe. Kieran finally found his voice. Hunters? He swallowed hard. You mean aliens? Her gaze darkened. Not like me. They see us as weak. They see my children as trophies, but you are different, humans. You fight with a ferocity unmatched. You endure when others would break. That is why I came to you. The absurdity of the situation crashed into him, yet the more he studied her, the more he saw the truth in her words. Humanity had survived plagues, wars, planetary catastrophes, and still endured. Perhaps there was something innate, some primal spark, that made humans uniquely formidable in a galaxy full of predators. She didn't wait for a reply. From her cloak she produced a small luminescent device, a kind of cradle that seemed to hum with life. Inside, two small beings stirred, their translucent skin glowing faintly like her own. They had her eyes, the same deep violet, and tiny, delicate hands that curled instinctively around her fingers. The sight stole Kieran's breath. They are like me, she whispered almost to herself. And yet, I cannot protect them alone. Kieran felt a surge of protective instinct, raw and immediate. His mind raced. This was madness, of course, but the children, small and defenseless, tugged at something deep within him. He found himself nodding almost involuntarily. All right, he said, voice firm. I'll help. Tell me what I need to do. Her relief was immediate, washing over her like a tide. She smiled, a gentle, almost human curve of her lips, and it made Kieran feel like the world had shifted. We have little time. They will come tonight. You must prepare. Strengthen the defenses. They will not stop. Kieran moved into action. He barricaded the cabin with what he had. Logs, furniture, reinforced steel shutters. He dug shallow traps around the perimeter, improvising with the few tools he had brought for living off-grid. She watched silently, occasionally whispering instructions, guiding him with gestures and sharp, precise commands. As night deepened, the storm outside raged, and the wind screamed like a chorus of the damned. And then came the first sound. A low, guttural growl followed by the crash of something heavy against the outer barricade. Kieran's pulse quickened. He had faced wolves, bears, even rogue mercenaries in his time, but these sounds were different, alien, unnerving in a way that chilled his bones. They are testing you, she said softly, placing a hand on his arm. Do not falter, remember. You are human. It was a strange mantra, but somehow it steadied him. He drew his weapons, simple rifles he had scavenged from old supply drops, and took position by the window. Outside, shadowy forms slithered and skittered in the rain, moving with unnatural speed and coordination. Their eyes glowed faintly in the storm, cold and merciless. The first attack was sudden. One of the creatures smashed through the barricade, and Kieran reacted instinctively, firing with precision. Each shot rang out, echoing through the storm. Despite the fear, despite the alienness of the attackers, something primal within him took over. Every human instinct honed through millennia of survival surged forward. He moved with efficiency, anticipating attacks, countering with deadly force. She and the children huddled in the back, the alien mother's eyes wide but trusting. They will not break you, she murmured, almost reverently. You are human, the fiercest predator of all. Hours passed in a blur of motion and noise. The storm began to ease, and with it, the creature's attacks grew sporadic and desperate. By dawn, the cabin was battered, scarred, and bloodied, but standing. Kieran, soaked and exhausted, lowered his weapon. The mother approached, her steps slow, deliberate, almost reverent. They see now, she said, her voice trembling. They understand. Humanity is not weak. They will not take my children. Kieran looked down at the small, luminescent beings nestled safely in her arms. They blinked at him with wide, trusting eyes. Despite the alienness, there was something deeply familiar about their innocence, about their reliance on him. He felt a strange warmth spread through his chest. He had come seeking solitude, seeking escape. Instead, he had found responsibility, connection, purpose. You saved them, she whispered, placing her hand gently on his shoulder. I will never forget this. They will grow knowing the strength of humans. Kieran nodded, a mix of exhaustion and something deeper settling over him. They're safe now. That's all that matters. And in that quiet dawn, the storm finally broken, Kieran realized something profound. Humanity's strength wasn't just in its weapons or its ingenuity. It was in its resilience, its instinct to protect, to endure, to rise against impossible odds. That spark, that relentless drive, made humans the deadliest, most unpredictable force in the galaxy. The alien widow looked at him once more, her violet eyes reflecting hope and gratitude. If ever you need me, I will return, she said softly. But for now, rest. You have earned it. Kieran sat back against the wall, letting the adrenaline drain away. Outside, the forest was still wet and silent, the threat gone. But inside, something new had taken root. A bond between species, fragile yet unbreakable, a testament to what it meant to be human in a universe that constantly underestimated them. And as he finally closed his eyes, a faint smile crossed his face. Humanity had won again, not through conquest, not through domination, but through courage, instinct, and the simple, fierce drive to protect what mattered most. Somewhere in the galaxy, a mother's children would grow safe and strong, carrying with them the legacy of humans who would fight, endure, and prevail, always.